I am here with
Nessa,
Amanda.
and just full disclosure, they are my good friends. So how do you guys feel after the forum? Without divulging what happened because it was closed door.
I think many of us will probably feel that the Israel-Palestine issue is a very emotional one. I mean, I feel particularly super emotional after the Gaza monologues and even after listening to the panel. But most of all, I feel a lot of frustration about what's happening and the limits of what we can do as Singaporeans. I also feel very ashamed as a Singaporean because I feel that I don't know what is the substantive thing that I can do as a Singaporean about the crisis and about the genocide. I come out still not knowing, not having the answers. I didn't expect to get any answers today as well. One good thing is that I do feel a lot more solidarity with the people in the room. I know a lot of people feel the way that I do, and we all want to seek ways to actually do something very concrete about the conflict and the genocide.
in terms of the domestic policy, the government likes to say that they encourage critical thinking, that they encourage Singaporeans to... our education system has been great, and that's actually it is precisely because of our education system that people are out here today. But at the same time, the government has also demonstrated an intolerance towards Singaporeans coming together to talk about the issue by saying that it's too sensitive, this will divide us.
So are they wrong? This is a sensitive issue. This is a potentially divisive issue.
This is genocide after all. How can it not be sensitive? It's all the more for that reason that we need to have dialogue that is not policed in a manner that depoliticizes the issue, because this is a political issue. Race, religion, imperialism, all these things are political issue. All social life is political.
Very feminist of you, all social life is political, but that is true, right? Why is politics so scary for Singaporeans?
I think politics, it's an area that's scary for Singaporeans, or maybe for the government to allow Singaporeans to talk about, because we have so many different opinions and people don't know how to hold them. But it's precisely because we don't have enough space to hold the difference in opinion with the government that individuals don't know how to hold that difference.
Absolutely.
And I think we do, especially with this current issue, I think we do need that space. We need more ability to disagree, have people in power listen to our disagreement and accept that there is disagreement, acknowledge it. By shutting us up, I don't think the disagreement will go away. It will exist and it will just fester, and I think that's a bigger problem, isn't it?
100%. It's an interesting point you mentioned. It is true that people do not know how to talk about politics, but that's because we haven't been given the space to talk about politics, right? Any final words? What would you like to see fellow Singaporeans think about or talk about with regard to Palestine?
Let me just say something about the event.
Yeah. Oh.
I actually think that it was a very genuine effort by the government to... we're just talking about creating space and holding that space for these conversations, and I commend the government's 100%. Efforts at this. It's good to have the government in the room, so that and I imagine it must not be easy being in a room full of people who already are Palestinian allies who are angry.
100%.
But at the same time,
I knew there was a but.
it is also a bit insincere to have these spaces, and at the same time also frame the Palestinian issue as something that is just too complicated for lay people to understand. Because then, if that's the case, then we might as well don't have conversations. So, it's not enough just to have spaces for conversations. I think there must be acceptance of where people are coming from.
I think that it was good that we do have this space. I'm glad that the government is interested in understanding our perspectives. I also wish that there was more trust in people to be able to talk about complicated topics. Even if we are not fully educated on it, at least have the space for us to and trust us to be able to talk about something that's tough.
Very, very liberal of the two of you. Thank you so much.
Liberal. Please cut that. Please cut that out. We are not liberal.
We are definitely going to keep this in. Okay? Thank you so much, Nasa. Thank you so much, Amanda. So I am here with...
I'm Shah.
And he also has an Instagram channel, right? Everybody has a talk show nowadays, right? How do you think everything went today?
I think at the very least, there was a space provided. And that's a good thing, because what Singaporeans have a gripe with the government is that they don't even allow conversation on this topic. They don't even let us talk about it in public, in big settings, because it's such a big thing in our hearts. And so it's very important for that big emotion, for it to be let out in a great way as well. And 300 people in attendance, I think that's pretty good.
Amongst your age group, peers, your friends, what is the mood like? So I want to ask for two specific groups. So one is among the Muslim peers, and the one is from your friends from other faiths and races.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, among the Muslims, it's always been the same, except now it's stronger because of the genocides that's going on, and so it's a lot. I mean, people have always been complaining and talking about Palestine and Israel's treatment of the people there. And so now it's stronger than ever. People are boycotting. There was a phase where, as in the boycotts used to happen in phases, but now people are just doing it. It's the new lifestyle now. So there's strong solidarity in that sense. At the same time, I think a lot of people are also frustrated outside as well, because they're seeing other, specifically, you can point out non-Muslims, but honestly it's most people. They said during the talk just now that a number of Singaporeans aren't aware. It's actually most Singaporeans. Most people are not exposed to it, because why? Algorithms show you, Instagram algorithm or social media algorithms show you what you want to see.
Indeed.
People don't want to see these things.
Indeed.
In fact, they are quite they shy away from it because it's so heavy on the heart, and people don't like feeling discomfort. People don't like feeling discomfort, so when they encounter discomforting content, they're like, nah, none
So
of that. Yeah.
if for a Singaporean person, right, and you're right, and honestly, you and I, obviously, our algorithm favors such content, and it's heart-wrenching. When we wake up, there's a heavy heart, when before we sleep. This is what we see, right? When we scroll, we doom scroll, right? But if I am an average Singaporean where I know that the policy, what goes on in Palestine cannot be changed by what anything Singapore does, right? As a country, right? Why should I then subject myself to the travails of doom scrolling? Why should I subject myself to the hurt when eventually it will not change anything?
We are humans at the end of the day. Humans have emotions. We have a heart. And so when that's involved, it's important to take note of that as well. Let's not downplay our feelings. Let's not downplay our humanity. Not just their humanity, which is already being downplayed by the media, by the way. But we cannot ourselves downplay our own humanity, in that we must treat what we feel is important as important, even though we cannot actually do anything, which is unfortunately the truth. Just dua, that's all we can do.
Dua means praying, right, for Muslims. Yeah. So even in the this is a secular show, but I think there is something useful, like that in the Islamic tradition, right? Even if we believe that our Prophet said that even if the earth is coming, doomsday is coming, right? The earth is coming to an end. You plant a seed, right? It's not that the tree will grow, right? Yes, you are doing it for yourself. You don't have to believe in God for that to have meaning, right? Because it is about what we do as a society, right? When we impose sanctions on Russia, we know that nothing we do would cripple Russia's economy, but we are doing it based on our principles. And I think just now you started with feelings and emotions, very Gen Z thing, right? On this, I am with you, right? I do feel that there has not been a serious acknowledgement of this hurt and feelings, because it always comes with, I acknowledge, but
the worst thing to say to someone in a conversation is but, because it impedes whatever they just said. It just stops the flow of conversation, and it just turns back everything. It just shows you're not listening.
It's very impatient, and I agree with you, but no. So any final word you have, right?
A lot of the interviews just now, they all say it's stuff like be curious, be informed. It's not up to you to be curious, to be informed. People are not born with that. People don't get to decide that they want to be curious. People don't get to decide that they want to find out more.
Excellent.
That's a matter of exposure. Unfortunately, we don't decide what we're exposed to. And I can tell the young kids, you guys should read up. As if they care. As if they care to read up.
So you are telling their parents basically
I'm
to
telling,
ensure they
yes,
read up.
the parents need to
Right.
expose their children to the right things. About understanding current affairs is not a privilege that everyone is allowed to experience, unfortunately. Not everyone thinks that it's important. But those that can, sure, go ahead. As many people as we can get to know about it. Let's do it.
100%. That was excellent. So I am here with the lady that made all of this happen today. She's going to be humble, and there's a team, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I don't need all this false humility. But first of all, thank you. Thank you for having this event for us. I think it was important. 300 people turning up, not too bad. How do you feel?
All things considered, I think it was a success. Like our main objective has always been to create a space for people to come together in solidarity to express their views, and I think that objective was met. Of course, like this wasn't easy to put together, so I'm just trying to reflect on like everything that has transpired and like why did it take so much effort for us to, ask for one event to come together, talk about Palestine.
I think people do not understand the significance of this. A pro-Palestinian event supported by the government, attended by a government representative. I think it opens the doors, right? So thank you for doing this. I mean, this was really a great initiative that even though I didn't do a lot, I was fully supportive of it, right? But let's tackle some of the issues we face head on, right? So one of the criticisms was, why are you working with the government? Especially, lepak conversations, Teh Tarik also, we have developed a reputation for being independent. How would you respond to that?
So Lepak Conversations has been around for almost 4 years now. So I've learned a lot about what activism is like in Singapore. I acknowledge that there are a lot of different approaches to activism, and I think that's also one of the things that people need to understand. Right now, Lepak Conversations is at the point of working, like being the bridge, right? We believe in being the bridge of connecting people with organizations, with government, or institutions that are usually out of reach to the layman, to the public. And I think that is just how we evolved over the years.
I think what we all need to be comfortable with, the activist space is vast. We all occupy different spaces in it, right? And I think we must recognize that we are part of this ecosystem. The other issue, right, which was MOS Alvin Tan was unfortunately unwell. So we didn't get a MP or POH, a political office holder. We got Mr. Janada's Devan. Do you think that takes the gloss of our event a little?
Well, ideally, I would have preferred an MP or a POH to be involved, because I think like from the audience sentiment as well, they wanted to speak directly to someone who's like in the government office. But I did still feel that I think there is merit in Mr. Janada's presence today. I think given that he came on such short notice, I think he was actually like within a few hours, like he joined us, and I think it seemed like he took on the challenge, and I really appreciate that. But I think the audience was missing, that they came. I think they came expecting like a politician to come, and they had certain questions that they wanted answered, and that wasn't fulfilled. But I think there is still merit in Mr. Janada's coming here. He still offered very valuable perspectives, given his background in like government comms and all that. Yeah.
Final thoughts. Okay, so anything you want to say? So two things. One is about this event. The other is about the cause itself.
I think my takeaway from organizing this event was really in the perception, how the public, other activists, regular Singaporeans, how everyone actually perceive this event, and how that affects Lepak Conversations as an activist group. I think this is probably a chance for us to rethink what activism is like in Singapore, how it should look like, and I think there was a call to boycott our event. And while I can understand the concerns behind that, I think I'm not sure if it's helpful for different groups of activists in Singapore to go against each other, because we're all working towards the same cause. We just have different approaches. My hope is that hopefully one day like it will move towards us thinking about the Palestinians and not making it about us. But at the same time, I think there's merit in it being like discussed as a national issue, because there are a lot of lessons that we can learn. Yeah, like how do we deal with international politics and international law. I just hope that the cause becomes bigger than just Singapore. Yeah.
Right. Thank you so much. And I definitely agree. Ultimately, national interest is paramount. What I would say to that are two things. One is the national interest. Singaporeans should be part of the conversation of what determines national interest. And secondly, what Sarah said, which is our emotions are part of it. So I just wanted to thank you not just for doing this, but also for the work that you do at Lepak Conversations. At your age, I don't know what useful thing I was doing with my life. So thank you so much, and I really appreciate everything that you do.